It's a melodious anger. Hey crew, I've got the key to that 22 Mercedes-AMG G63. We are going to take it for a drive, but first let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. Since the new generation for 2019, nothing has changed on the exterior of the G-Class, and even that update in 2019 didn't mess with the iconic G-Wagon look. Up front, we've got this Panamericana grille with the vertical slats, blacked out details with the AMG Night Magno package. So yes, that's a matte finish to go with the matte finish paint job that's called G Manufacture Monza Gray Magno. Got your Benz logo up top, projector LED headlights, LED DRLs, and turn signals also up top. At the side, with the AMG Trail package, we get these two-tone 20-inch wheels wrapped in Pirelli Scorpion all-terrain tires, 275 section front and rear. Within those wheels are red-painted brake calipers over drilled rotors. There's a chrome accented running board and classic side exit exhausts. Black door protectors here, black mirror caps, and black window trim. Stepping back to look at the profile, even if you thought the new generation messed too much with the front and rear, you can't be mad at that profile. It is just so recognizable. Now the windows just have a little bit more roundedness to them. At the back are LED taillights, black Magno for the lower bumper, hitch receiver, your tire carry, and the big swing out tailgate. Looking at this vehicle is kind of refreshing. In this age of all these SUVs going rounded, just classic boxy. What do you guys think? Do you think this is better or worse looking than the new Range Rover? Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up by pressing in on this button right here and looking inside at this saddle brown and black Nappa leather interior with contrast stitching. This is what it looks like with the headrests up. That's with it down. There's quilting and perforations on the seats with rear seat heating controlled right here. On the doors, leather all the way down the panel, quilted inlay, gloss carbon fiber, and a Burmester 3D sound system as standard. Getting in, we've got the running board that helps, but a grab handle right here would be nice. The one here in the door can move with the door, and this one can kind of get in your way as you're getting in. As is, we'll use the seat back. Behind my own seat at 6 feet tall, I've got just enough knee room. The seat back is injection molded, large map pocket, big foot pockets to slide my feet under, and thigh support is excellent. Headroom is plentiful. Thumbs up for me on that one. There are 2 air vents here, a third zone of climate control, 1 USB-A port down here, and a DC outlet. It's easy to get into the middle seat with a low drive shaft hump, and you can straddle it and have headroom. If there isn't a middle passenger, then there's an armrest that comes down with padding and 2 different size cup holders. So the back seat spacing is good. I mean, I think a little bit more shin room would be nice, and another USB-A port, and if we're just asking for things, maybe a second sunroof to brighten it up back here. As is, we have this suede wrapped headliner that is very nice. Let's check out the front. Now, before we do the door close noise, just take a look at these latches and see how crazy overbuilt they are, because it's going to explain why. 1, to close the doors properly, you have to do it like you're angry at them, because anything less just won't cut it. And 2, it also explains why the sound of the lock and unlock can be heard from across a parking lot. It's just classic G-Wagon noise right there. Up front, we find heated, ventilated, and massaging seats with power adjustments here on the door. You get power adjusting and power folding door mirrors, aluminum foot pedals. There is no tailgate release because it is manual. And you got to do it with a bit of heft. Ooh, because the swing out is heavy. Behind the second row of seats, we find 38 cubic feet of space. If you want to expand that, you got a little bit of extra work because you need to fold up the seat bottom and then fold down the seat back. That will give you access to 68 cubic feet of space. Other mentionables back here include a cargo cover, 115-volt AC outlet, and a quilted and carbon fiber accented tailgate. Oh, how's that for a thud? Yet again, I feel like we're missing a grab handle here, so I'll use the steering wheel, which is suede and carbon fiber accented with a leather center marker. It's heated as an option. You get these big aluminum paddles on the back of the wheel. There are two 12.3-inch displays. The gauge cluster is reconfigurable. There is no head-up display. You get stitched Nappa leather up on the dashboard as an option with the G manufacturer interior package. Carbon fiber inlays are an option. This infotainment system is still running the old Mercedes-Benz Command software, meaning it is not a touchscreen, and your controller down here, and in fact the way you access the system is really kind of confusing. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but they're not wireless. Beneath the screen, we find 3 locking differential controls, physical HVAC controls, an analog IWC clock, gloss carbon fiber here, under which we find 2 cup holders, a key slot, and a DC outlet. The carbon fiber continues back here and mingles with this brushed aluminum. Under the leather padded armrest is a decent amount of storage with 2 USB-A ports. Visibility with those back headrests down is good, with them up, not so great, and these thick boys of front headrests do get in the way. Thankfully, there's standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. Plenty of luxury and performance details to be found in this cabin. Some of them options, though. I think the tech really needs an upgrade, and who wouldn't love a little bit more knee room in the second row? All right, let's take the G63 for a drive now. All right, let's fire it up. Man, if that isn't a pernicious sound to start your day. We got some motion in the ocean as the 4-liter V8 came to life. Our drive mode is selected here via this toggle, and we're going to begin in comfort drive mode. To go into reverse, pull up on the stalk, and that brings up a high-resolution backup camera system. You get your bird's eye view off to the left, and these different camera angles to choose from that I cannot touch. I've got to use this dial. There's a wide-angle backup, wheel shots, narrower front and wider front, narrower rear, and a hitch receiver shot. Let's do the wide angle to start things off. It's down into drive. Let's start with the world famous horn test. Wow. Yep. That's a lot. But so is the G63, so I think it kind of matches. Turn signal sound. It's a cheery tune. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Powertrain in the 63. It is a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8, tuned to produce 577 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. That is routed through a 9-speed multi-clutch automatic and set, of course, to all 4 tires. It's a lot of power. And you look at this vehicle and you think, that's gotta be tough to drive. Body on frame, giant V8, maybe it's gonna be clunky, or maybe it's just gonna be super sensitive, but it's not at all. Accessing that power is very smooth. The 9-speed in operation, silky in those gear changes, and the throttle is not at all touchy. I do love that you've got this low resonant frequency from that V8. It's like you've got bass on at full effect. Views like this are appreciated a lot in the G63 with this giant piece of glass that's so flat, feels like you're driving a bus in a cool way. The seating position emphasizes that because it's really up high. This is as low as I could make this seat, and it feels like I'm perched up on top of the truck. I don't mind too much. Nice vantage, by the way, because the seat is very comfortable. It's well cushioned, the bolsters can be adjusted, and they even have an active mechanism that will counter the G-force in a curve. Turning radius test. It's a pretty wide arc there. But you somehow just don't care. You don't care about maneuverability. It's like, get out of my way. You hear that sound, and you just smile. Ride quality with this adaptive damper setup that's tweaked differently with the all-terrain package is super agreeable. The dampers suppress the road imperfections well, and I don't know if it's the setup for the all-terrain package where it's even softer tuning to absorb the harsh impacts that you'd experience off-road, or the extra cushion from those all-terrain tires, but I swear this is softer riding than the last G63 I drove. I could daily this, no problem. Now let's see how quick the G63 will get to 60 with a real-world test. For that, I've got my race box set up here, and then I need to make an adjustment to the drive mode. Let's go into Sport Plus, and there is no launch control in the G63, so I'm just gonna hold my foot hard on the brake while pinning the throttle, give it a little brake boost, and let go of the brake. Do note that the road surface is a bit damp this morning, and this is a little bit of an uphill as we start things off. Here goes. Oh my goodness. 4.3 seconds to 60. When considering the real-world factors that I just shared with you before that, that's incredible. But more important is how that made me feel, which is a little bit scared. The way it got out of that hole, all four tires ripping forward, and then the sound, the noise of this V8 is unreal. Oh, the fury of this noise. And the movement of the body is kind of hilarious. Like the nose just lifts off as you accelerate and you hit the brake and the nose just plows down. The hustle is, I lost the words. The hustle of this truck is wild. The motions of this truck, I don't know why, but they remind me of two guys at a bar with their chests puffed out, coming at one another and then backing away. Coming out and backing away. Except with the G63, you really should be intimidated. Because it's so fast. And that's just putting my foot down in auto mode. If I go into manual mode and try to operate these paddles myself, which feel very good in the hands. Ooh, quick shifts. The scariest part about it is it gets very light. Like you feel like the tires are like barely touching the ground when you're really accelerating hard. But kudos on this transmission. The shifts are really quick and I like the action of the paddles. This is proper performance right here. I could listen to that sound all day. It's a melodious anger. So good. Our final on-road demonstration will be a handling and braking test, once again acknowledging the road conditions. But we are not going to get into off-roading stuff today. We've got the 3 locking differentials. This one has those all-terrain tires. It's got that tuning of the suspension for off-roading. The only thing the G63 has never really embraced is an air suspension to give it additional ground clearance. But you know this thing is capable off-road. Today, I just want to focus on the on-road performance. So making sure that we are in Sport Plus and that traction control is in Sport, giving us a little bit of slip. Let's approach this curve with some speed. Clamping down hard on these brakes. There's nosedive and wiggle, but there is stopping power. Turn in is not that slow. Got some roll from the all-terrains. And yet somehow, with such a high center of gravity, the stability in a corner is shocking. How Mercedes-AMG does it. Fighting the body-on-frame setup, fighting the height to have the G63 handle the way it did on all-terrain tires. It's mesmerizing. At the very least, it'll be able to handle itself in emergency situations, but so much more than that. Okay, let's put traction back in full and go into the comfort drive mode and cruise at highway speeds. We do have adaptive cruise control that we can engage with a lane keep assist feature. No steering assistance. This isn't the latest and greatest from Mercedes-Benz. There is a lot of wind noise, and those all-terrains are generating some tire noise. There's only so much that can be done with such an unaerodynamic shape such as this. But the NVH isn't so loud. The insulation is good enough that this is totally bearable. Day in and day out, you would not get tired of this because the seats are so comfortable, because you've got all of that great power on tap, and it's so drivable. I think it's time now for the miles per hour word of the day. And the word that comes to mind for the G63 is cogent, meaning forcibly convincing. And I think that this truck is convincing me of one thing clearly, and that is of its authority. Your money is well spent here because you're just intimidating everyone, but doing so with sort of a relaxed smile on your face. Before we're getting into pricing and competition, a couple quick things to share with you. The top speed, thanks in large part to the lack of aerodynamics here, is 149 miles per hour, and the fuel economy, thanks again to aerodynamics and also to lots of power, is 13 mpg in the city, 16 on the highway, and 14 combined. Is a whopping $180,000. This one, as tested, is $188,500. The vehicles it competes against, will go with something that's more expensive, something that's competitive, and then something that's less expensive. Starting with the least expensive, we've got the new Land Rover Range Rover. We'll choose the autobiography trim. That vehicle starts at $153,000. It makes 523 horsepower. It gets to 60 in 5.5 seconds, and the fuel economy is 18 combined. Then we've got something kind of right here at the same price territory. The Aston Martin DBX, the standard version, not the 707. It starts at $189,000. It makes 542 horsepower. It gets to 60 in 4.0 seconds, and the fuel economy is 16 combined. Then we've got the Lamborghini Urus. It starts at $219,000. It makes 641 horsepower. It gets to 60 in a scant 3.2 seconds. And the fuel economy is equally terrible at 14 combined. from those offerings, you got to think, all right, so the Lamborghini Urus is the most dynamic. It's just so sharp through corners. It behaves in ways SUVs just should not be able to, much more so than this one. The Aston Martin DBX is still, to me, the most beautiful SUV on sale. And then the Land Rover Range Rover is probably the most well-rounded, both on-road and, like the G63, off-road, with good technology as well. What do you get with the G63? Why would you choose this SUV when they're really compelling offerings? Because of the way it makes you feel. This is the most Bond villain SUV on sale. You just have this, as I said, authority, this gravitas that the other vehicles can't match, despite their incredible looks or performance. And I think that if you're spending this kind of money, you're not doing so out of necessity for certain characteristics. You just want to feel cool. And the G63 accomplishes that mission very, very well. I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review. If you did, please like, comment, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell to get notified. And I'll see you next time.